Yo, what is up everyone? So Modern Warfare 2 has been out for about 2 weeks now, and the weapon metas really seem to be all over the place. Seems like there's some really decent weapons in pretty much every weapon class, and even some S tier ones in almost everyone also. So I figured it was that time. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna cover every single weapon in Modern Warfare 2 so far. So let's dive into the first weapon class, which is gonna be assault rifles. So the only F tier weapon that I have in assault rifles, and this might be controversial, I know some of you are probably gonna roast me for this, but I personally hate this gun, is the TAC 5.6. I'm putting this in F class. Now I have heard that a lot of pros actually use this weapon. Maybe I've just been using the wrong attachments. I've tried so many different things. I feel like I just get hit marker after hit marker, and unless I'm straight up just camping watching a lane and I don't move the entire game, it just feels terrible. For D, I'm actually putting the M16 here in D class. Now, the reason I'm putting M16, it's kind of similar. Unless you're sitting there like just holding lanes, it's just not a fun gun. I have seen a few people do really well with this weapon. For me and my playstyle and my personal preference, I just really do not enjoy it. Especially when you start comparing it to other weapons. Why would I ever use an M16 when you can use something like a cast-off 7.4U? All right, moving up. So in C class for assault rifles, I am putting the Lockman 5.56. To me, it basically just feels like a slower, worse moving M4 with a little bit better range. You do get that. So depending on your playstyle, maybe you would like this. But for me, I'm putting the Lockman 5.56 in C. In B, I'm ranking the M4 and the cast-off 5.45. The cast-off 5.45 is pretty fun, and all of the cast-offs are actually really insane. Like, you can't really go wrong. If you like a lot of movement, then obviously you're gonna go something with like the 7.4U. But yeah, the cast-off 5.45 and the M4, I'm putting both of those in B class. They're really solid weapons. The M4 was the first weapon I used for like the majority of my first times playing. All right, now going right into A class, we are hitting the crazy good weapons for ARs. I'm putting this cast-off 7.62 and both the STB 5.56 in A tier. The movement for the cast-off 7.62 and the STB 5.56 are very similar. STB, I feel so weird calling it that. It's an AUG basically. If you play like me where I pretty much only use iron sights, I don't really ever put anything special on the weapons as far as optics or reticles. So yeah, for A class, I'm putting cast-off 7.62 and STB 5.56. And that takes us right into our first S tier weapon. Now, nothing has gotten S plus yet. Maybe that'll happen later in the video, but the first S tier weapon for this video in the AR class is going to be the cast-off 7.4U. Again, personal preference. My playstyle is more so run around, force more so medium close quarter combat, especially because so far I've mainly been playing kill confirmed. And like I said, maybe these opinions will change in the future, but you can really kit this weapon out to be insane. Like, you can even take some pretty far range fights, and the handling that you can get on this weapon, it's basically the best of both worlds, whether you're going between assault rifle and submachine gun. So next up, we are getting into the battle rifles. Now, starting off in C class, I am putting the SO14 in C class. This basically is a harder to control recoil with a slightly faster fire rate than the Lockman 7.62. Just not really a big fan of this gun. To me, in my preference, it kind of just felt like a worse Lockman 7.62. I don't know. Let me know how it felt to you though. The Lockman 7.62. This gun's actually like a pretty decent starting weapon. If you guys don't have a different battle rifle and you guys really like the feel of a FAL, you can get 2 shots quite a lot. Like, even if you guys have the playstyle of just straight running around, like you could put something like this barrel on and still have really good movement speed and be able to run around, play kill confirm, play the objective, do whatever you need to. Now, joining the Lockman 7.62 in B class, I'm actually putting the TAC V. This is the 7.62 variant of the SCAR. As you guys know from the prior list, the TAC 5.6 I gave a F. Well, I'm stoked to say the 7.62 variant feels way better. So joining the Lockman 7.62 in B class, we are putting the TAC V. Going into A class, I'm giving the FTAC Recon the A because I feel like it is the best battle rifle. It feels like a better Lockman 7.62 to me. I was able to put a shorter barrel on this gun and play kill confirmed and still run around, and you can really customize this weapon whether you want to hold lanes, run around, go crazy. This weapon just felt insane, and it's also for some reason really annoys people when you kill people with them, which kind of makes it a little bit more fun, I guess. All right, so moving on to the submachine guns. We got quite a lot. We got 8 of them, but for D class, we're starting off, I'm putting the FSS Hurricane in D class. When you compare this to something like the MP7, it basically just has worse mobility, worse handling, less of a fire rate. Slightly more damage, slightly more range. But again, if you want something like that extra long range, you're not really going to be running something like a sub in the first place anyways. Now, moving on to C class, I'm putting the Vaznev 9K and the PDSW in C. Now, the PDSW is actually kind of nice because it has a bigger magazine. You can kind of get away with a lot more things, and I had some really good games with it. It's a lot of fun. But overall, just the amount of shots it takes, you really have to like pick and choose when you're making those pushes. So PDSW and the Lockman sub. Now for B class, I got 3 guns in here. I got the Vaznev 9K, the Fennec 45, and the Mini Bach. Now there's quite a lot of volatility in this category. Like the Fennec absolutely shreds if you're up close. And a lot of people say the Fennec is the best submachine gun, but from my experience, it was not. I actually have a favor over the Fennec. The Mini Bach feels insane also, but kind of falls into a similar category as the P90 or PDSW, where it actually comes with a huge mag. It's a 64 round mag, so you can kind of get away with a lot and you don't have to reload too often. So I really love that about it. All right, now this is the one that I think a lot of people are going to disagree with. I'm actually giving the Vel 46 or the MP7, I'm putting it in A. This was the first submachine gun that I used, and so it kind of like set the tone for what I expected from submachine guns, and I thought it was awesome. And yeah, my Steam just crashed, but I'll open that back up. Anyways, moving on to the S tier weapon, I'm putting the MX9. It's a AUG variant. It feels basically like a better version of the STB 556, at least in my opinion, which is basically the 223 or 556 variant of the AUG. Whereas this one, the MX9, is the submachine gun variant. Handling feels good. Time to kill feels insane. Yeah, it really just has the best of both worlds. Doesn't have as big of the mag as like the PDW or the Mini Bach, obviously. So you get a trade-off for the damage there. But if you're running fast hands, you reload really fast with the MX9 anyways. So yeah, putting MX9 in S tier. Now, LMGs are interesting. What you expect, you pretty much get. Up first in C class, I'm putting the 556 Icarus. It just feels like the most standard type of LMG that you could possibly have. Yeah, like I said, there's really not much to say for these weapons because exactly what you expect is exactly what you get. In B class, I'm putting both the RPK and the Rap H. Both of them are going to have standard 75 rounds, with the RPK actually only having 75 in reserve, if I remember correctly, and the Rap H being 150. So maybe that could be a deciding factor for you. The RPK comes from the Cast-Off platform, and then the Rap H is going to be coming from the Lockman platform. Now, skipping A, I actually really like this one. This one's just really funny to use, and I'm giving this a S tier rank more so for the meme. It's by far the loudest gun in the game. If you're using it, your teammates know, your enemies know, everybody in the lobby knows. It'll make your ears bleed. It'll make your friends' ears bleed. It's the RAL MG. This is my favorite LMG. It's the most fun. It's insane. 75 round stock, 150 in reserve. Positives, it's loud as hell. So yeah, up next we got the Lockwood 300. So we're starting this one off. I'm putting the Lockwood 300 in C. I got nothing for F or D. If you're a shotgun player, you can really make any of these work. The Lockwood 300 I am putting in C, and like I said, it's probably the most fun, but for overall practicality, just the fact that you have to reload after every 2 shots, if you get a hit marker, you're pretty much screwed. If more than one person comes in, you are most likely screwed. For B class in the shotguns, this might surprise some people, but I'm actually putting the Bryson 890 just because I feel like you get a lot more hit markers with the Bryson 890 versus the Expedite 12 and the Bryson 800. And I actually have an insane build for the Expedite 12, which I'll put on screen when I start to rate it, and that'll kind of explain the rating that I give it. But yeah, for Bryson 890, I'm putting that one in B class. So going into A class, I'm actually completely skipping it. I feel like the Expedite 12 and the Bryson 800 are both S tier shotguns. Now I'm going to put the build up for the Expedite 12 that I've been using on screen right now. It feels insane. I know a lot of my friends say the Expedite 12 feels like complete dog water. I completely disagree with that. I feel like the Expedite 12 is insane. So Expedite 12 and Bryson 800 both going in S tier for me. Marksman rifles up next. We got 6 of them here. Starting off, dog water, F rating, EBR 14. I hate this gun. I feel like this is just a crap version of any type of gun that feels like a foul, like crap version of the Lockman 762. Moving on, D tier, I'm putting the LMS. It's such a boring gun, I feel like, compared to anything else you can use. Really no reason to use this over anything else, at least from what I've discovered. If there's a build out there that is a game changer for this gun, let me know down below because I'm dying to know. For C, I'm actually putting the TAC M in here. This is basically the Scar 20 IRL. Scar 20 shoots 7.62, and it's basically just, yeah, the marksman rifle variation of the Scar. Again, I feel like if you're going to be running a marksman rifle, you're probably going to be more interested in a few of the other options that we have in this class. It is pretty strong, but overall, I just feel like competing in this class, the other guns just really overshadow it. So the TAC M I have in C class, and then going right into B, I'm putting the Lockwood MK2. The Lockwood MK2 feels like a not as good version of the SPR 208 and the SAB 50, and for whatever reason the Lockwood MK2 just seems to dish out hit markers way more for me. But yeah, the trade-off, you get one more round than like a stock SPR. I believe the SPR you get 5 plus 10 reserve. The Lockwood you get 6 plus 12, so you get a little bit more ammo. But yeah, Lockwood I have in B class. Then going right into A, I have the SPR 208 in A. The SPR 208 is pretty much the best shotgun, the best marksman rifle, and the best sniper rifle in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. You can run around, you can really kit this out to be anything you want. If you want to run around, play objective, get up close and personal, you can do that. If you want to camp and hold objective and hold a line of sight, you can do that with the SPR. And then that kind of spoils it. For S tier, I'm putting the SAB 50 in S tier. This is probably the closest thing to like the intervention that we've had in years in Call of Duty. So many people are just so stoked about the SAB 50. It feels like so many other good sniper rifles from past Call of Duty titles. And I'm stoked to say I'm the same way. I feel like sniping has really come back a lot. All right, moving on to sniper rifles. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what differentiates between the sniper rifles and marksman rifles, because things like the SPR and SAB 50 are still bolt actions. So I don't necessarily know why those are not sniper rifles when they seem like sniper rifles to me. My least favorite out of all of these, and in D class for me, is the Signal 50. It just feels like you're operating a robot in one hand. Like, it's huge, it's clunky, it feels awkward. I'm not a fan. C class, I'm putting both the Victus XMR and the MCPR 300. Again, big, clunky. It feels a little bit better than Signal 50, but honestly just not very fun to use. I don't know, I didn't have that good of a time. And then in B, I'm putting the LAB 330 and the SPX 80. These are a little bit easier, in my opinion, to make it so that you have a versatile gameplay. You can run around or do whatever. But with the other ones, you're really going to see that just a lot in like ground war, invasion, killing bots. LAB 330 and SPX 80, a little bit better. I'm putting them in B. Moving on, we are on the handgun list. Now, this one's interesting because it goes from pretty much terrible guns, skips the middle, and then we got some S tier class setup. Starting off in F is I hate to say it, but the Deagle, the 50 GS. I really don't see a reason to use this over the Basilisk because it feels really similar, but the Basilisk can absolutely slam. Moving straight on into D class, I got the X12. It feels like a worse version of the P890. Really not much to say about it. Semi-auto. And then going straight into C class, we got the PA90. Again, nothing stand out about it. Standard semi-auto handgun, easy to control. It's a good backup if you really need it. But if you're gonna run something like those three, you could run something like the S tier class setups that I'm gonna talk about. So I'm skipping B, I'm skipping A, and I'm going straight into two S class setups. And I'm talking about the Akimbo Basilisk with Snake Shot and the Akimbo X13 full auto. If you're talking about just one of these guns by themselves, they're probably not going to be S tier, but the fact that you can Akimbo these and customize them to become these S class tier setups is why they're an S. There's not much you can do to the PA90 or the Deagle or the X12 that puts them even in the realm as what you can make the Akimbo X13 full auto and the Akimbo Basilisk Snake Shot. If you haven't seen videos on those, I highly recommend going and checking them out. They seem to be pretty busted right now, but yeah, they're insane. Both the Basilisk and the X13 auto, you can kind of fit into kind of similar but also different play styles at the same time. But obviously with the X13, you're going to be full autoing, whereas with the Basilisk, you're going to be running around trying to get close range shotgun shots basically with the Snake Shot. Keep in mind, these are just my personal preference opinions, and I'm not saying that I'm like hard stuck on these. I will probably have some opinion changes in the future. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. Love you all. Peace.